Welcome back to Life University for the Coach's Corner. Continuing episode 5 here with head men and women's bowling coach Jeff Halen. Coach, thanks for joining me. Coach, this episode 5 has been a little longer than most, but we're trying to get all coaches in here, trying to get them in front of the camera, talk about the year. Coach, had some interesting things happen on the women's side, but your men are coming off of a third place performance, which is arguably their best finish to date this year. So talk a little bit about the team, what you've seen, and what's coming up in the future.
It's been a tough year for us. It's been a lot of growing pains. We've got some good freshmen that have joined the team this year, and we have a lot of good things coming up. The third place finish was definitely a good one for us. It showed the guys that they can do it. Our ladies are struggling. They had a rough start with the NAIA eligibility, so that put us behind. So they've had a tough start. They're digging in. We're off this weekend to Florida State for a tournament there, and it's a ladies only tournament this weekend, and we're hoping that they're going to do well. They've been working hard, so we're looking forward to a good showing from them there. The guys have been really digging in. They're getting ready for 2 back-to-back Tier 1 tournaments we have coming up in Las Vegas in December, the week before Christmas. We've got to put some PowerPoints on the board, and we're trying to focus on getting ready for sectionals. And our whole focus is getting the points built up so we can qualify for sectionals. And these 2 Tier 1s will help us a lot. Our vision is set on Mid-South Conference. Our championship will be the end of February, and so our focus is getting through these 2 Tier 1s, getting our points built up, and then being able to go after the Mid-South Conference. And that'll get us an automatic berth into the NAIA championship.
Awesome.
So we're looking forward to really trying to put something together for that.
That's awesome. Yeah, and so what we try to do on this show is just try to learn more about things. When we had Patrick on earlier, we kind of talked about the whole ranking system and kind of explained that. So, I myself am very curious. How does the whole ranking system? How does that work with Does it go off of pin average? Does it go off of bowling, like your game average? Is it total pins? Is it certain tournaments hold more weight? How does all that work out?
The Tier 1 tournaments hold more points for national rankings. For the conference, it's a matter of your points in your wins and winning each individual tournament. We have 4 conference tournaments during the year, and those seed us for the conference championship. Winning the conference championship gets us into the NAIA championship. But nationally, at a national level, NAIA doesn't have their own tournament system yet, since we're so new into NAIA that they use the national USBC tournament structure, and that's all based on points. Okay. So each tournament, we have Tier 1 and Tier 2 tournaments. So a Tier 2 tournament has so many points for each level that you place at, and then Tier 1s have double the points. So the better you finish at a Tier 1, you double your points.
That's awesome.
And each tournament, you get so many points for each tournament that you attend, and it's just a matter of building up the points in your national rankings. Currently, I think we're ranked 68th in the nation, but it's still early in the season. The final standings will come out the middle to end of February is when the season will end, and that's where we'll see where we need to be. In order to qualify for sectionals, we need to be in the top 80. Last year, we kind of heartbroken. We finished 81st in the nation last year, so we missed it. It was 13 pins that we missed qualifying for making the top 80.
That's right.
Which out of 200 plus schools in the nation,
yeah,
I was okay with top 80 for considering it was our 3rd year.
Definitely.
But this year, we have our sights set on making sectionals. Sectionals leads to nationals, and that's ultimately what our goal is, but we have to take our baby steps.
Yeah, and I think that's really awesome. We've talked about that with, it seems like a lot of the winter sports are kind of like that, where it's a very long season. It's not just, your typical, like fall season is like August to November. You guys kind of start in like October, November, and then it goes to like February, late February. And one of the things that we've kind of talked about with like, wrestling and swimming specifically is the beginning of the year. Yes, those tournaments matter a lot. Yes, you want to do your best. But that's really kind of you just figuring out, okay, what do we have? How can we, let's make adjustments. And then once you get back from Christmas break, that's really when you hit the ground running.
And it's all cumulative. So for us, it all adds up. But we really have to, at this point where we are now, we have to dig in. These tier ones that we have, we're only doing 3 this year. Our first one was the Austell tournament at the beginning of November. And then we have the 2 in Vegas. And with the double points, we really have to have a good showing, and they're important. And so from now on, we've got to finish top 5 to have really good points. And then, if we get top 3 finishes throughout the rest of the season, we're in good shape. But finishing, if we can win the conference championship at the end of February, that puts us automatically into the NAI championship, and that'll be really good for us. And the guys can do it. It's a matter of believing in themselves, and that's really bowling is a physical game, but it's very mental also, and you can defeat yourself mentally quickly. And we've just got to get the guys and the ladies to believe in themselves, and that's our biggest challenge right now.
Yeah, I think with all athletics, it's there's a very overwhelming percentage of it that's mental. Because at this point, you're a college athlete, you're competing against other people that have been doing this. It's not, they didn't just show up, they're not just, some random person. You have muscle memory at this point. Yeah. And your mind can play tricks on you, and all that muscle memory, all that hard work can drop like that. You miss one strike, or you miss one spare, you miss one pin, and then it can all go downhill. So definitely agree with that.
Yeah, so you just got to stay in it, and it's you blow it off, and you come back and you do it again, and you just got to throw that away and just forget it happened, and you just have to come back. When you get to the tier ones, you're competing against 30 other schools, so it's not just one competitor. You're not competing against just a small group of schools. We're competing against 30 other schools, so the competition's tough. And we see when we go to Vegas in December, we're competing against schools from all over the country. Where we're used to just in our conference, it's our conference. So we've got the group that we're used to seeing. We're the tier 1 that was here in Austell. It's the group in the east. We see the eastern teams. We see the southeast. When we go to Vegas, it's going to be the whole country. So it's a different group that we see, and the competition's different.
That's definitely a fun experience. I don't know many student athletes that can say they got to go to Vegas to compete. So, Coach, looking forward, who is kind of, let's get into more of like a specific, who is. We've talked about, Jake, your captain, obviously been super important. Who's kind of like, come out of nowhere to kind of reference the student athlete banquet, the one you got to watch out for. Who's kind of forming themselves and kind of having a breakout year.
I think Juwan Wallace is one of my guys that he's a senior this year. He's one of those quiet guys that sits in the back, doesn't say much, and he's really been my most consistent spare shooter so far this year. He's done very well. He's worked hard during the summer, and he's really starting to just take off. Jake has done really well this year so far, but Juwan he's been consistent. He's just starting to really take off. One of my freshmen, Jalen Johnson from over in Alabama, Jalen's got this ball that he has a lot of hand in his ball, and when he throws it, he's standing all the way on the left side, and when the conditions are right, he's one of these guys that he throws the ball and it's halfway down the lane before it hits the lane, and it's all the way out to the gutter, and it comes back, and he's striking, and people on the lanes on both sides of us are standing there watching this ball because it looks like it's going for the gutter and it never gets there. And he's got this strike, and when it hits, everybody knows it. And it's just, everybody stands there and looks at it going, oh my gosh, how did it stay on the lane? But Jalen's really starting to come out. As a freshman, he's got some refining to do, but he's got a beautiful ball, and he's got a lot of talent, and he'll be a good one to watch. So there's a lot of guys with talent on the team. On the ladies' side, Jasmine Nash, she's second year this year. Jasmine's really worked hard over the summer. She's throwing a really nice ball. She's come a long way from where we've seen her. So I think there's some good things coming from Jasmine too. Jessica Crowley, who's a freshman, we've got some refining to do with her and some work, but I think she's going to be a diamond in the rough. And as Christina Hollis is my assistant coach on the ladies' side, she's been watching her and working with her a little bit, and she sees that there's something there. It's going to take some work. So it'll be a good year. I think we've got a lot of future with her.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I've been impressed. It's like you're not, and it's kind of one of those things where, kind of like swimming, where you may put together a fantastic team performance, but if you don't have, a lot of people competing consistently, you're not gonna. You could have, like Jawan Wallace has bowled, pretty outstanding in a couple of the tournaments, but the rest of the team wasn't necessarily right there or staying consistent, and you see that in the team results. So I think that's a very interesting thing about bowling is you can't focus in on, okay, well our team finished here, when it's an all around team performance.
It's absolutely team, and the thing about bowling is for so many years, all of these young men and women have been outstanding bowlers as individual bowlers. And we've watched them as individual bowlers before we've recruited them, and now we've taken an individual and we're trying to create a team. And they may have bowled on a team in a league, but we've taken team to a different level because as a league bowler, they're on a team, they're a member of a team. But here we're trying to instill in them that while you are on a team, you are now really are the team. You are part of that team. And there's a difference between being on the team and being that team. And we're trying to instill that the individuality isn't there. It's now you are it. The team is you, and you are the team. And we're trying to instill that into them. And so you're taking individuals and trying to create a team, and where other sports have been teams, and you are the team because soccer and rugby and lacrosse and the other sports, you're a team. You play as a team. Everything you do is as a team. Bowling, you've been an individual as part of a team, and now we're trying to teach them and mold them to be the team. And it's a challenge, and a lot of them get it, and a lot of them are starting to understand it, and the upperclassmen are bringing the younger guys into the understanding of what it means to be the team and to function as one, and they're getting there, and it just takes time.
Yeah, and that's got to be exciting for you as a coach, having a pretty decent number of underclassmen. You've only got a handful of upperclassmen on your teams. Really being able to have that leadership and instill kind of like a mindset or a character for your team. Kind of those I can't think of the word. Kind of like a staple, like a pillar of your program, mm-hmm. that those upperclassmen can kind of instill in the freshmen, sophomores. And then, when next year's class gets here, it's like it never goes away.
Right. Yeah,
when you can pass that torch down, that's really important.
Yeah, that benchmark to work from. And for me as a coach, having some of the other coaches here to lean on and to pick brains and to try to when I'm struggling to be able to go to and ask questions, and for me learning and trying to get my thoughts and how I need to be handling things. It's been great for me being here to be able to garner knowledge from the folks that have been in that team environment for so long. So that's been a big plus for me too.
Definitely,
because it's definitely a learning experience for me.
Mm-hmm.
Only being in our fourth year this year.
Nice. Well, congratulations. We love having you around here, Coach. Looking forward. We talked about the Seminole Classic. Your women's team's going to head down to Tallahassee, and then I don't believe the men have anything until a little bit into December.
Vegas is our next year.
That's going to be a heck of a trip. I mean, you don't have to tell me how excited you are about that one.
It's we've gone the last couple of years, and it's an interesting because it's both tournaments have waiting lists, and so you once you've gone, then you're automatically in for next year.
Oh, nice.
But if once you don't go, then you're back to the waiting list.
Oh.
And so both tournaments have waiting lists. There's another big tournament. The last Tier 1 tournament of the year is the Hoosier Classic, and it's in Indianapolis in February. Both of our teams are on the waiting list, and the men's team has been on the waiting list since we started 4 years ago.
Wow.
And we still have they do a lottery to draw to get into it.
Jeez.
And we're still waiting to try to get into it, but it's the last big one of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But
Is that that's a one?
That's a Tier 1.
Oh, wow.
And so it's a big one, but it's the last one of the year because the sectional assignments come out the week after that tournament's over.
Mm-hmm.
Is when sectional assignments come out. But this is a fun tournament. We've gone the last 3 years, and the first year I went by myself with the guys. We had a mixed team the first year we went, so it was me as the lone chaperone in Las Vegas with the bowlers, and that was an experience.
Fun.
So last year we had a few more people, and this year I've got a handful of parents going.
That's good.
And so it'll be fun. And
keep the reins on.
yeah, and the bowlers behave. They're a good group, and I don't worry about them. I can trust them. The older kids, I've only got a handful that are over 21, and I set the ground rules, and I have to trust that they're going to do the right thing.
Definitely.
And everybody has a good time. What I found was there are so many roller coasters in Las Vegas.
You got them on top of hotels, in the hotel.
Yeah, I end up losing most of the younger kids to the roller coasters on the time when they have their own free time.
Yeah.
So I do give them free time, and I lose them to roller coasters, and and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, there could be worse. They could be getting into worse things. So
Absolutely.
roller coasters, definitely a thumbs up on that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Coach, I greatly appreciate you sitting down and talking with us.
Thank you, Billy. I appreciate
very
it.
much looking forward to how you guys can finish out the year.
I'm excited. We're the conference coaches poll, I think, had us finishing 8th. I think the girls finishing 8th and the guys finishing 6th. I think is where the coaches polls had us. So we'll see. We finished. The girls finished 6th last year, and the guys finished 6th last year in the conference. So we'll see where we finish this year.
Awesome, Coach. Well, thank you very much, and best of luck.
Thanks, Billy. Appreciate it.